And what are you saying, Pastor? What helps you to have power over people is not just the position, but rather it's the capital and the control that you have over a citizen. Yeah, I know everybody in here don't want to get with politics. We think politics and religion don't mix, but the truth of the matter is our religion should help us to have a navigational compass as to how we should know what God necessitates from his people in authority. You want to know why it's so important that we have our faith wired where it's all or nothing? Because you have people, once again, that are demonic, that are adversaries and enemies of God, that are trying to take away everything that our ancestors marched, fight, prayed, and died for. Do you know what that beautiful bill will do to us? That beautiful bill is going to cut Medicaid by $625 billion. Do you know what that big beautiful bill is going to do? It's going to cut SNAP. That means the food that we get that's discounted, and sometimes people say it's free. No, we fought and we bled for that food, and $300 billion are on the line because they're trying to take it all from those that are in need. But that's why I'm grateful for those that are in Third Baptist Church that understand that our faith ain't just for us, but it's for the entire world. Whenever it is you come in here, you ought to recognize that God is using us to show the world his love, his grace, his mercy, his forgiveness, his spirit. Is there anybody here that can say, I want all or nothing? Do you know what that big, beautiful bill will do? All of us will be affected. When you see student aid that will be cut back by $355 billion, and they're tripling the budget of ICE and trying those that are immigrants that once again help this country to be what it is, they're trying to abort them as if they are not human. But how many in here that can say our God ain't just concerned about black people, white people, Jewish people, but he's concerned about all people? As a matter of fact, thank you, Grandmama, for teaching me how to preach. We are all God's children. And what am I trying to say is that how we respond as children of God, it impacts not just some of us, but it impacts all of us. I'm preaching better than you saying amen. Your small decisions impact all of us. Graduates, you graduating high school, middle school, going on to college. I want you to know, my brothers, that it impacts us. It impacts an African-American race to see black men that at one point they said we were not able nor were we fit to get into their institution. But would you look at God? God knows how to turn it around and use it for our good. And not just for black people, but all people. This is where we find ourselves in Daniel chapter 3. There are 3 Hebrew boys who understand the sum total of their individual actions. Yeah, they understand that it's not just on me to fix it. It's not just on you to fix it, but it's on all of us to fix it. But what's crazy is that when we see in this text, as they are in Babylonian captivity, not all of them are willing to stand up to false idols. Not all of them are willing to stand up for the truth. Not all of the people in this text are willing to refuse to bow down. But there are 3 saved brothers who have the unmitigated gall to say, in the midst of King Nebuchadnezzar, in the midst of what's happening in the world, in the midst of you cutting off our food supply, in the midst of you doing everything to stop us from moving forward, let me tell you that I refuse to bow down. Let the church say, I refuse. I refuse to bow down. And whenever it is that you bow down, that's you giving power to something that doesn't have power over you. Preach, Lancaster, I'm trying. You got to stop in this season giving power to powerless stuff. I'm trying to tell you, we give power to social media and it ain't got no power over our day-to-day lives. We give power to people who don't contribute nothing, don't come to nothing, and don't want to give nothing, but got the audacity to always say something. I wonder if there was anybody up in this church that can say, in this season of my life, I'm at a point where I want to be focused on God. As a matter of fact, nothing has power over you but God. Everything that has power in your life, you give power to it. Nothing has power over you in your life but God. And catch this, the good news is that the only way it has power is if I give it power. Okay, I like to make preaching simple because I won't make sure everybody got a little piece of this sermon. Amen. I'll never forget whenever it is that I used to play with games. Not all games had a power cable where in which you could plug it in. And so what you had to do is some games still operate like this, where you got to put batteries in it. And it was one time, whenever it is, that I just knew that this game I had was once again able to be charged. But it came a day that I began to get frustrated that my game was not working. And my granddad said to me, well, did you change the batteries? And I said, Granddad, well, I didn't know this specific toy/game needed batteries. My granddad said, no, you got to put batteries in it in order for it to move. What am I trying to tell you? Is that in your spiritual journey with God, your faith is the battery that keeps you to move forward in the midst of positions that you don't have power over. Preach, Lancaster, I'm trying. I wonder if there was anybody in this church that could say, I'm battering up my faith. I'm putting some stuff in me this Sunday morning that'll allow me to walk out of this church with my head held high. I'm putting some batteries in my faith that'll allow me to say, no weapon formed against me shall be. I'm putting some batteries in my faith that will tell me when my head is low, I can lift up my eyes to the hills from which cometh my help. Is there anybody in this church that can say, I need some batteries in my faith? Sometimes I get on E and I need God to switch them. Sometimes I get down and out and I need God to push me. But is there anybody here that can say faith can get you to where you need to be?